The Battle of Bunker Hill raged for hours, but we were victorious. We stood together in our darkest hour, unwilling to retreat until our last charge of powder had been expended. British troops had great stockpiles of ammunition, but force of arms will not suffice to win this war when men are determined to have liberty or have death. Congress has approved a series of offensive operations on land and sea to demonstrate our resolve to the British and their king. We have much to do. In the last episode, the battle was actually a draw because I let one of the sneaky, almost dead units take the capture point because I was too busy killing a ship. Here in Paris, we hear excellent news from our correspondent in Boston that strongly suggests the British colonists are unlikely to make peace with perfidious Albion anytime soon. After the Boston massacre, the battles against the local militia at Lexington and Concord, and especially after the battle between the British and American forces on Bunker Hill outside Boston, the citizens of Boston appear to prefer death to servitude. In particular, men like Captain John Paul Jones exemplify this contempt of British authority by openly challenging their vaunted supremacy of the waves. We, the people of France, owe it to these brave men to stand behind them and provide what support we can. It is imperative that we call upon Our Majesty Louis XVI to aid these men. We have 2 missions and 2 side objectives, Meal for Patriots and the Letter of Marque. We have a new ship, the Andrew Doria. Well, let's have a look. We need to buy some good weapons. Need those sea service muskets with the sword bayonet. I have a feeling that piracy-style tactics are going to be necessary. The last ocean mission I attempted was me versus the entire British fleet. And we just ran. So that's why we went back and did Bunker Hill instead. We've got 2 7th-rate brigs. The Vengeance, which is our original ship. We've got the new Andrew Doria. We've got the captured HMS Oakwood and the HMS Alderney. One is a sloop, one is a cutter. One is faster, one is better armed. I'm undecided which one I want to keep. We only need 3 ships. Let's get rid of the sloop. Go with the bigger guns. We'll see how Oakwood goes. I won't keep these ships around. They are largely ineffective against anything, except in large numbers, or as fire ships. Get the crew on board the new Andrew Doria. They've got a fairly effective crew. Let's give them my reserve officer, who is a boarding master. The Vengeance has a couple of levels of experience skill, and one of those we're focusing on boarding. I wanted to give boarding equipment, but it looks like only 5% for... We're overloaded, so that's not going to happen. I don't want to drop the man count. Alright, so we'll cancel that. And the Vengeance, her job, and the Andrew Doria, they're packed with men. We need to capture a better ship. That is the next mission. We'll go with Letter of Marque. Turn up the difficulty. Letter of Marque usually means we'll be doing piracy. According to the other side, anyway. Since the very first day of the Revolutionary War, we have found yourself without guns, and especially without powder. The southern states produce hundreds of tons of the best cotton and tobacco in the world, but gunpowder production is almost non-existent. Therefore, we must steal or buy what we need, and it is much cheaper to steal than buy, especially when you're paying the bill with royalist blood. According to reports, there is a small vessel carrying a large amount of powder. She might not even be guarded. Yesterday afternoon, we arrived at our designated area, dropped sails, and drifted, when Lookout spotted 2 heavily loaded merchants with a single escort. And what have we got here? It looks like a brig. This is definitely the ship we were expecting. It is heavily guarded rather than unprotected. Our lookouts observe a large number of men on the decks. We have laid in a course to intercept these ships, and I've begun to think of a way to capture them without killing us all. There's a lot of powder on those merchantmen, apparently. So we're not going to shoot at them, if at all. The main concern will be to capture ourselves this escort ship, and that might mean we will have 3 brigs, which is a good little raiding force. And it looks like Oakwood's slowing us down. She is a cutter, so she actually runs better against the wind than with it. Yeah, the rear ship is slowing us down, but that's okay. We're against one solitary brig. Let's try and get some shots through. It's very long range. We only have 6-pounder guns, which aren't very good. Especially when they're not hitting the ship they're shooting at. That was terrible gunnery, sir. We're going to have a word about that. We're on a predictable course, and you couldn't get one to land. Yeah, Oakwood is really slowing us down. Let's break her off. Yeah, cutters are a little bit hard to use, especially when you have square sail ships as your main fleet component. They're good in niche situations or in coastal fights when you can press up the enemy ships against the land. But a larger ship only has to swing around a few degrees and this thing is toast. So let's go and send her up towards the merchantman. And if we can capture HMS Lion, we will phase that boat out almost instantly. Trading shots with HMS Lion, we're going to get a little bit closer. At this angle, our hull is being tilted and we have a bit more range, but we're also more exposed to damaging shots. Conversely, HMS Lion has shorter range, but her hull is being pushed down a bit and she's a little bit safer. Changing course a few degrees, threw out her gunnery a bit. Alright, she didn't like that one. She's turning away. This is giving us an opportunity. We'll be able to capture her shortly. HMS Oakwood is running a bit faster now that we've changed her angle to the wind. You can see there's a ring around the ship, and as that changes in colour, that indicates how they perform with the current wind direction. You can see that Andrew Doria, from her starboard side, if she were to run that way, should be running into the wind and get no speed. And we're going to pin HMS Lion between the two brigs. Switching to grape shot. Now the goal will be to whittle away the crew until they surrender, or we will just press a boarding action. Lining up right on her stern. If we can get some good shots in there, they will be effective against the crew. She lost 10 crewmen. Let's go for the boarding action while she's stuck. Musket fire from the decks. That's why it's important to give your ship crews, especially the ones that get close, decent weapons. I try to give all my crews the sword bayonet where they can, because that acts as a short sword in a boarding engagement. Makes them much more effective. Here we go. Let's bring this ship around. Vengeance will go for goodwill. HMS Oakwood still struggling to even get to the fight. Boarding has commenced. HMS Lion has surrendered. That's the hardest part done. Now it's just a matter of capturing these ships full of powder. Nice, easy mission. We've got a new brig, so we've increased our fleet power by 50% in one single session. I'll keep these episodes to one mission per episode, with a little bit of management on the side. So some will be shorter, especially in the early stages of the campaign, and some will be much longer. HMS Lion has a new crew on board. I think I will rename these 3 brigs. Or not Vengeance, but the other 2, definitely. We're not going to be running with the King's name. Goodwill might surrender without a boarding action. We can run Vengeance through to center. Should be able to fight both of them. Try and speed this up a little bit. Goodwill taking massive crew damage. She only had 20 on board to start with. Oh, the former English HMS Lion is now flying under the rebel colours. Former escort doing more damage than she ever protected her from. Watch out there, sirs. Don't run into each other. Alright, Goodwill has surrendered. Let's get a crew in the boats. Zephyr will be short to follow. HMS Oakwood did nothing this battle. I should have sold her for reputation, because reputation is going to be super important in the US campaign. We have to spend 1 reputation for every 100 land weapons we buy, which was not an issue in the British campaign. We were swimming in reputation in that. So a lot of the ships we capture, we're going to have to give to the Admiralty for that reputation. So there'll be more thought in what actions I take between missions. Zephyr has surrendered. Showing her colours will stop time a bit. Drop down the anchor. Drop some boats. Leave a skeleton crew on Vengeance as we take possession of the Zephyr. That is a mission complete. Just get in the boat. Done. Successful raid. We outgunned and outcrewed them significantly. Anything less than that would have been a shame. 10,000 supplies given too. We've recovered some new weapons. Alright, back in port. We have ourselves 2 new troop transports. HMS Lion is a trophy ship. Let's top up the crew. Lost a few crew losses, but much more gains. Also, topping up the crew from our reserve to try and preserve that experience and minimize costs. Making sure to always use weapons from the armory rather than from the shop, because that will cost us reputation. Need to make sure we control that. We're going to strip the guns off the HMS Alderney, HMS Oakwood. We need to add HMS Lion to the fleet. That will cost 10 reputation. Repair her up. So now we have a nice homogeneous fleet. 3 brigs. That's a good raiding force. Can't take on much bigger maybe than a 5th rate if you're really lucky. But it's a good stepping stone. We will sell the Goodwill. We will sell the Zephyr. In my experience in the British campaign, you want the larger transports, not these small ones that can't even carry a full regiment. Renaming her the Victory, and we'll rename the HMS Lion as well. We'll call this one the Valor. My naming convention usually sticks to alphabetical by their ship class. So the brigs of the 7th rate are going to start with V. Just keeps it easy to remember during the heat of battle. Okay, we see if we've got any sea service muskets available. We've purchased all the ones available in the shop, so we're going to give those to our Valor. Make sure that they're really good at boarding, because they will be the way that we step up to larger ships. Short of being given something by the campaign itself. All right, I've got the Earlston. We'll keep that one. And we will sell off these 2, the cutter and the sloop. They don't really work for the way that I like to fight. especially because every mission just gets more and more difficult. Using our career point to give us the maximum reputation every fight. So now we'll get an extra 5 every mission. Technology looks good. Will I put the lightweight gun carriages on? Just so we can increase the speed of the ship. 10 knots. It's not very fast. A large warship would actually be quicker under the right conditions. So we want to keep the speed about the same. Making sure to sell off these ships so we don't spend the maintenance on them. And that'll bring us up over 20,000. That's good. Little bank. Alright, I think that'll do us for this mission. Just make sure everything's in order. The Vengeance, the Valor, and the Victory. We've got a stash of naval weapons now from the ships we just sold. And there are sea service muskets, but they don't have the right bayonet. Should I sell off some stuff? Yeah, let's sell off these trade guns. They've got like a 1-minute reload. Yeah, we need to... I'm going to have to be really careful about my armaments here. Remembering where I cycle, which ships. Because I can't afford to lose the weapons. With the money, I don't think will be an issue, but the reputation certainly will be. Infantry carbine looks okay. 25-second reload, but no bayonets. The Dragoon, that's the mounted rifle. Trade musket's got a 52-second reload. So has the Longland. Yeah, they're better off getting rid of those. Alright. Technology will be an issue. Enemy commander wants his men back. Let's give them back for reputation. The next mission, we've finished Letter of Marque. It's going to make it easier for us to buy powder and shot in the future. We've already spent those career points. Very good, very good. We have one more mission for this chapter. If you want to see it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment below. Tell me any tips that you might have if you've played this campaign, and I will see you in the next episode. Commander Tyrael, out.